Hi, this is TapCAD. Welcome to my 47th and final installment of my Dark Souls series, where I try to prove that even though I am horrible at action games and really bad with a controller, I can and will beat this game. Before we go to fight Lord Gwyn, there's just a little piece of business that I want to take care of, strictly optional. We're going to get my Boulder side sword up to a +10 fire weapon.
My, is that an ember from New Londo? And a fine ember it be. What'd he say? Why not leave it with me? I'll give you a flame to feast your eyes upon.
Yes.
Yes, very well. We'll get these old bones to work.
Okay. So, yep, +6. And then reinforce. And we are going to take it all the way up to +10. And the red Titanite slab. All right.
Now where have you gone?
Now, let's go ahead and equip it. There it is. So I need to find someone we can fight against, and the problem is I had to kill all the stupid bone wheel skeletons out here. At least I think I did. Thought I heard something skittering around. Come on, guys. Really? Alright, screw them. Okay. I couldn't quite see the number there. 128 points of damage. 127. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we'll come out here and just really quick equip the Uchi for comparison. And let's just see how much I do. Wow. So is it just against this type of enemy? Because it really sucks against them. I'm going to warp out of here. We'll go somewhere else and just test this really quickly. Alright, we're here in the depths. Now, I certainly realize there... Wow, I can't believe I'm actually letting myself have to work against that stupid hollow. What I was going to say is I'm well aware that there's nothing here that's a challenge. But what I want to see, okay, 256 from this, and 325. So, alright, let me try one more thing. I just wanted to try it against opponents that probably had very little, if any, resistance to any particular damage type. And I'm guessing the rats are kind of in that category. 472. So, okay, it's official. The fire version of the Baldur side sword is easily doing the least damage. Now, compared to the halberd, I can understand that, because the halberd's a slower weapon with higher base damage. And maybe part of the problem is, you know, my dexterity is very high, and the Uchigatana is scaling with that, while the fire isn't. But what that tells me is that if I wanted to use the Baldur, I probably should have just upgraded it using the normal path to +15. And that if I want an elemental weapon, then, I don't know. It feels like maybe something like a halberd or the Great Sith or something would be better. I haven't done enough to know all the ins and outs of that. But certainly in this playthrough, I would say I did not put that Balder side sword to good use. But enough with the fire weapon experimentation. We're going to Firelink Shrine and the Kiln of the First Flame. It's time to start heading to our showdown with Lord Gwyn. So let's start by talking to Frampt. Really?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. Well and wide awake. Do not treat me like an old withering snake.
And get your butt up.
I am pleased to see you well. Is it something urgent?
You could say that, yes. Do I say warp?
The beings who possess these souls have outlived their usefulness, or have chosen the path of the wicked. As the primordial serpent, I implore you to defeat them and claim their souls. Let there be no guilt. Let there be no vacillation.
Let's try this.
Very well. Then stay still for a moment.
Okay. Well, let's feed the beast. We'll offer the souls. Okay, we are going into the final area. I guess before we do this, let's level as much as we can. I think that only makes sense. No point worrying about the little ones, I don't think. Because to get enough to level up... Oh, actually, that's probably a level right there, right? Yep. Alright. So, let me cancel this one, but we'll need a bunch, so I should be able to get at least one more level, I'm guessing. Alright, let's see how we do. Future Tapcat here. For the sake of everyone's sanity, I am dramatically speeding up the playback of this, so you'll still see me pop all the souls and level up. We actually did pretty well out of this, more than I expected. Never as much as I would have hoped, because I would have loved to have gotten my dexterity all the way up to 45, and that was never going to happen. But we did get my vitality up to 40, which was definitely a goal. And dex up to 37, I believe. And that's pretty respectable. Obviously, I would have gotten a little more damage scaling on my sword if I could have kept pushing my dexterity higher. And my pyromancy would be a little quicker. But the pyromancy would probably only really be a factor if we go into a New Game Plus. And that's not something I necessarily intend to do. Now, the other thing I should do is go human and kindle. I think that makes sense, and I should probably kindle a couple of times. No, my bad. I don't get to kindle. Maybe there's a bonfire inside, because I don't think I would have to go into this fight, you know, that way. We'll see. Let me get my glove back. Okay. If I need to say it, I've never been in here before. I mean, if you've never made it to Izalith and you've never made it to through the demon ruins and stuff, you clearly have never made it this far. So this will be my first attempt at ever fighting Gwyn. I have some familiarity from seeing it in videos and stuff, but that's it. Let's see what we got. Right, we have these knights. I should be able to beat them with my sword, but I will feel better with pyromancy, I think. You know, I don't even... Oh, no, I do have to. Oh, they're a little tougher. Alright, well in that case... You know what I should have done is gone for the backstab. Oh, I thought I had it. I really did. Huh. I didn't feel like he really had the angle to block me there. I feel like they're giving him a very generous shield range. However, I won't fuss too much. I have probably gotten a little bit of that from time to time myself. So even though when you play this game, you feel like you get no breaks at all, that's not true. Okay. There we go. I got the backstab. Not my forte, really. But we got there. I don't want to try to parry this guy because their shots are so wicked, you know. Oh, that's cool. If you miss the parry, oh man, they really hit hard. So I'm trying to keep an eye out for shinies, by the way. This actually looks like a little bit of a path, so I'm wondering if it goes anywhere, but it doesn't. A classic red herring. Well played, From Software. Well played. Anything over here? No. Okay. They love putting stuff around corners, so I thought it made sense to check. And same there. So I only see one path, even though it's a very narrow one. Makes me a little nervous. But I guess compared to the one we take in the painting guardian room. Yeah, this is nothing. Black Knight armor. That's kind of cool. I don't know how good it is in game. We could check. I realized recently that I haven't been necessarily great about looking at all the descriptions. Armor of the Black Knights who haunt Lordran. The knights followed Lord Gwyn when he departed to link the fire, but they were burned to ashes in the newly kindled flame, wandering the world as disembodied spirits ever after. Wow, that is kind of a rough break. Okay, I see our path. So I have to fight one of these guys. I think for him, I am going to go pyromancy. This is going to be kind of a bear. Okay, I tell you what. I want to fight him at least over here. Because this kind of sucks. Yep. Okay, he blocked it. He blocked a lot of it. There we go. I torched him. So that went pretty well. I did have to use up, you know, several charges of my pyromancy. Now, I've always been dubious that pyromancy would work well against Gwyn, because I know he has a flaming sword, although I want to say that... Okay, so here is where I would summon Solaire, and I'm more than happy to do that. I just wanted to see if... Wait, I'm up to 20 Estus flasks. I could have swore I was at 10. Huh. Alright, before we summon Solaire, I want to clean this area out. Okay, I gotta make sure I don't get so close that I aggro that guy. Wow, that was a nice little maneuver. This guy's an agile little dude, ain't he? Okay, I need to back away because the last thing I need is to have him break my my block completely. Yeah, he's a lot stronger than most, and I mean that literally. Not more dangerous, but his shots are very powerful. The Black Knight Great Axe. Do I remember hearing that that is like the single best or most damaging strength weapon in the game? Has an enormous base damage. Scales really well off strength. No good for us, of course. And seeing as how late you get it, unless there's a way to get it earlier, it seems like it would be pretty difficult to use for anything other than New Game Plus. But apparently if you do, it's a beast. Oh! Yeah, I'm not getting the backstabs. I was kind of trying for it. Okay, looks like we have a clear shot at Gwyn. I guess I wasted a few of my humanity. I thought I needed to kindle a bonfire in here somewhere, or the Lord Vessel. But apparently not, because I'm up at 20 again. And at any rate, we've got what we've got. So, equipment-wise, is there anything I would change? I want my Uchigatana. It's my go-to weapon, I feel. I've got my Pyromancer glove. We can try the Pyromancy. I most certainly do not need the Ring of Fog. What do I need? I want the Chloranthy Ring for sure. Do I want Poise or like something like the one that boosts my fire defense? Because I'm going to be blocking his stupid shots, but the fire will come through. I'll try it. I don't expect to beat Gwyn on my first try. I will be very happy if I do. And we'll see, you know, how this goes. Part of me was tempted to do this without Solaire, but I'll explain once we are victorious. Note my absolute confidence that we will prevail eventually. I will explain. I kind of have a thought in mind about the ending that I will share with you when the time comes. And it involves Solaire. So come, my brother in arms, let us take on Lord Gwyn, whose time is past. Okay, I'm doing pretty good damage. Oh, if only I could backstab. I was like, okay, going two-handed that long is probably not a great plan, bro. Back away. Get my endurance back up. I don't like... Oh, he finished him. He finished him. Wow. I guess we beat him on my first try. Okay, well, that was somewhat anticlimactic. So here is my thought when it comes to Solaire. Now, if I had his armor, I would put it on right now because I've made reference before. There's sort of the Dark Souls story, and then there is the Tap Cat version. In the Tap Cat version, here's what happens. For example, Siegmeyer and his daughter, they're adventuring somewhere, and they're fine. And in the case of Solaire, we beat Lord Gwyn together, and he steps up here, and he links the fire. And if I had his armor set, I would put it on so that visually, it would look that way. And Solaire would become the sun, as, he so desperately wants to do. Dark Souls is given to us by the developers. It's a very bleak world with a lot of unhappy stories. But, I choose to look at it in a different way. That's my Dark Souls story. So Solaire is now going to link the fire and bring a new age of undead free happiness to the world. And that is Dark Souls, at least my run through. It was not perfect by any stretch. There were certainly things I, missed or could have done better. Net, I'm very happy with how it turned out. I never made any secret of the fact that, yes, I had played Dark Souls once before, or at least, tried to. And I struggled early, and then I started to get better, and I really loved the game. And then things started to wear on me. The archers in Anor Londo were my first, thing where I started feeling way more frustrated than feeling like I was getting a welcome challenge. And then that culminated in the Tomb of the Giants. The darkness and everything, it just got to me, and I said, I've had enough. I'm not having fun anymore. So I had this kind of ambivalence about the game. Part of me loved it, part of me not so much. And it always bothered me a little bit that I let the game get the best of me and I didn't finish it. When Bloodborne came out, I didn't know if I would be able to beat that at all, but I bought it and I thought, well, let's try. Let's see. And I've talked about this before in part 0 of this series, so I won't go into detail, but I played it, I finished it, I loved it. And I learned that there were things that I did not think I could do that I could when I kept trying. So when I had played through Bloodborne several times, I decided to come back to Dark Souls, and I'm really glad that I did, because I would say now I don't have any ambivalence about the game. I just love it. No, it is not perfect. Yes, there are things I would change about it if I could, but at its core, I feel like this is a really special game. I think Miyazaki is a very special designer. That, of course, is going to be in the eye of the beholder, but there's just I don't even know, like, it sounds so pompous when you say there's an artistry to it or an elegance to it, but that is how I feel about these games, Bloodborne and Dark Souls both. And You know, a lot of it has been said by other people. The interconnecting areas is one aspect of it, but I just feel like going beyond that, the way so much of the game eggs you on through failure, and, you know, that desire that at least some of us feel to keep pushing and keep trying. It goes back to, I guess, what makes me an XCOM fan and want to play an Iron Man mode there. There are just a handful of games that dangle this kind of challenge in front of you. And, you know, if you have that mindset, you want to come back until you beat it. And I'm just grateful I did come back to this. I love this build, and I must say, I think that's part of why I had an easier time than I did in my prior run, is that I was melee only in my first attempt. And in some areas, that's awesome. You kick butt, you know. Wearing heavy armor and swinging, you know, a relatively hard-hitting sword. But there's other places where it's pretty much a recipe for getting your butt handed to you. And you don't have any flexibility in how you approach things. So I took pyromancy because I thought it would be less, easy mode than sorcery. But it gives me a bit of range. And the crossbow for the same reason. You know, it's not something I had to invest a ton of resources, time, and energy into. Well, the pyromancy souls. Lots and lots of souls. But beyond that, you know, you can just play and not need to put a lot into intelligence or faith or something like that. So I would say that if you are wanting to try the game for the first time, man, you could do a lot worse than this pyromancy dexterity build, just making absolutely sure you keep vitality up, because that's another thing I was really happy with. Continually pushing my vitality up kept me from getting one shot killed a lot. And, you know, you can't kill them if you're already dead. Just remember that. I know it's an obvious thing, but seriously, keep yourself alive first. So the one other thing I'll just say really took me by surprise, how many bosses I killed on my first try. And Lord Gwyn, wow, Solaire and I just stomped him. Maybe I should have taken him alone. I really wanted to see if I could beat him with parry and riposte. But from very early on, I had this kind of personal version of an alternate ending in mind. And it really only worked, even in my imagination, if Solaire was with me. And I thought about fighting him once on my own and then bringing Solaire in, you know. But I thought, geez, if I was actually beating him the hard way, right, and I'm parrying him and getting it done, I'm going to take a dive. I'm going to just throw that away so that I can come back. I can't do it. So even though I really kind of wanted that challenge, I decided to sacrifice that and bring Solaire with me so that I would have the satisfaction of this, again, alternate ending that only exists in my own brain. It certainly is not what the game tells you the ending is. So I brought him. I did not think it would be that easy. Because it really was. But even the other fights, I beat a lot of bosses like the Four Kings solo that I never expected to beat on my first try. I will say, I think on average, the bosses in Bloodborne are way harder. I'm not complaining. I'm not enough of a masochist that I think that every single boss fight needs to be murderously hard. But it was a pleasant surprise. And I think I struggled more at times when I was just going through an area and I didn't adapt quickly enough to the attack patterns of the minions than I did, you know, against the bosses. But that's okay. In no way did that, you know, diminish my enjoyment of the game. All right, I think that I have blathered on long enough. So let me just say this, that if you watched this series, I thank you very much. And if you cared enough to leave a comment at any point in time, there is no greater reward, I think, for me. This is probably true of a lot of YouTubers. Really satisfying when people leave you comments, whether it's encouragement or pointing something out that you didn't know about the game or whatever. So thank you very much for taking this ride along with me, and I hope we'll see you next time.